So that game that we all just watched, I'm hoping you watched it. If you didn't, you just missed one of the best games ever. But that is exactly the reason why I love football and I love the Premier League. Absolutely crazy game. Going into the match, Manchester City, all they needed was a win. Just win the game against Man United, their biggest rivals, playing at home in front of the home crowd, and they win the Premier League. Winning the Premier League against their main rivals. I mean, Arsenal have done that, and it's one of the best things you can have as a supporter, right? To win the Premier League, or at least a trophy against a rival. It's just, there isn't much better. And they've blown it. They've bottled it completely. Well, one player in particular was at fault tonight, in my opinion. And don't get me wrong, okay? I've mentioned it in the past. I actually quite like Man City. My family have a bit of history. My granddad's a big supporter of Man City. My uncle supports Man City. So when I grew up, I did watch a few Man City games. And I do have somewhat of a soft spot. But I don't support them. But I quite like them. And I thought they were going to wipe the floor with Man United today. And to be fair, the first half was exactly that. They were wiping the floor with them. I mean, Man United looked so poor. Really, really out of position, out of character. They weren't defending well. They weren't attacking well. It just looked like they'd given up already. As soon as that second goal went in, which was a brilliant, brilliant goal, by the way. De Gea gave it away, I get that. But they had plenty of opportunities to then clear it, put in a tackle. But City, with their usual Guardiola-style play, just passing it around, tiki-taka football, and Gundogan just calmly puts it in the corner. And of course, the first goal, captain, leader, legend, Vincent Kompany. Who knows how he got into the first team today? I don't think it would have been a case of Guardiola picking him. I think it would have been a case of Kompany saying, I'm playing today. This is Man City against Manchester United with an opportunity to win the league early. I'm playing regardless of my fitness. And he got himself a goal, which was amazing. But then the key moment, and this is the main reason I'm uploading this video. You know, I love doing my Operation Arsenal videos. I fancied doing a Manchester Derby video. There was a pivotal point in that first half which inspired me to make this video, because I'm sure everyone will agree that Raheem Sterling bottled it. Absolutely bottled it. It's been arguably his best season in his career so far. He's been brilliant this year, but today, my God, when it mattered most, he had a hat-trick of opportunities today, maybe more, to score. And they weren't one-off chances. They weren't chances that you would expect someone to, struggle to get on target. They were proper, really good, sometimes one-on-one chances of which you just have to score at this level. And it would have been 3, it would have been 4, it would have been even 5-0. That's how good they were in the first half, Man City. And do you know what? When he missed those chances, I thought to myself, it kind of clicked. Man United are going to win this game. They came out in the second half like a completely different team. The first half, okay, the best way to explain it, if you're watching the Premier League for the first time, it looked like first versus 15th in the league. There was a clear, huge gap of quality there. It did not look like first versus second, and that was quite embarrassing, actually, how poor Man United were. And don't get me wrong, this is coming from an Arsenal fan who have been terrible this season, but United were just disjointed, terrible, absolutely awful. But in the second half, it looked like first versus second. It really did, and at times you couldn't tell who was in first place, because they were pretty even. I don't think Man City necessarily had a bad second half. They definitely were a bit unlucky. Definitely should have had a penalty. Ashley Young pretty much avoided a red card, let's be honest, when he took out Aguero. They got a bit lucky in terms of, the post saved them. Man City, on the attack, very, very quick passing. Gundogan clips one in and it just comes off the post. So again, Man United getting a bit lucky there. And 2 goals in 2 minutes from Paul Pogba, just completely unmarked. Brilliant finishes both times. The header was brilliant. Really difficult for a big guy like him who's very tall. The ball was definitely too low for him. He's managed to curl his neck around and get the power behind it, and to beat a very good goalkeeper in Ederson. And to beat Otamendi as well, because Otamendi's been solid this year, but that second half performance from him was definitely under par. But then, of course, the third goal, Smalling, who had one of the worst first half performances I've ever seen him have. He was, shocking. gets his goal in the second half to make it 3-2, and now you're looking at a completely different game in the space of like 15 minutes. It was absolutely amazing, absolutely incredible, and it's just another reason why I love this game. As Patrice Evra would say, I love this game, I love football, and I love the Premier League. And today, although it was a big opportunity for Man City to, of course, win the title early against Manchester United, their arch rivals, ultimately, it didn't really matter. They're going to win the Premier League. It's a matter of time. Pretty much, if Man United drop points at any point from now until the end of the season, it's done, isn't it? All Man City need to do, well, it's win another game, potentially. Just win one more game, get a draw, and then they've done it. So there's no doubt in my mind that it's over already. Today was just a great opportunity for them to shove it in their rival's face, right? The big thing for Man City now is they've lost 2 games in a row, both games conceding 3 goals, and they are going into a huge game against Liverpool on Tuesday, which is at home for them at the Etihad, which definitely will help. But 3-0 down after that first leg where Liverpool completely blew them away. Got my prediction horrendously wrong, didn't I? Man City just didn't perform on the night. Quite simple. I think Liverpool are going to win that game again. I think that Man City's confidence will be low, especially after today, because today was an opportunity to bounce back. And do you know what? They didn't go with a strong team, or their strongest team, and I get that, but I think it was a mistake to do that. I think Pep Guardiola should have put his best team out today, because I think it was Gary Neville who said it in the commentary today for Sky Sports, that in a couple of years' time, no one's going to say, oh yeah, that was the year Man City got knocked out by Liverpool in the Champions League. You're not going to really remember this season by that. You're going to remember it more, oh, that's the season where they beat Man United at Etihad and won the Premier League against them. You've got to prioritise competitions. I know that they've pretty much won the league already, but that was a huge, huge chance today to really, stamp your authority on Manchester being, the best team in Manchester, which we all know they are, but really prove it compared to, pushing their luck against Liverpool on Tuesday, hoping to score 4, which is very, very unlikely. So, in my opinion, I would have gone with a full-strength team tonight, and I would have gone for it, because ultimately they're professional football players. There's now 3 days until they play the game against Liverpool, and that, I know it's not great, considering it's only been 3 days since the last game against Liverpool, but it should be about enough time for them to recover and get ready for the next game. It's just the way football is these days. There's a lot of games in short succession, and if they're Premier League players, they're professional athletes, they're really fit, their diets are good, they sleep well, they do everything they need to do to be fit for these games. You play them in the biggest games, and this was a huge game, and they bottled it. Crazy, because Sterling could have won it for them in the 30th minute. Just crazy. That is why you've got to put away your chances. Even if you are 2-0 up within 25 minutes or whatever it was, don't get complacent. Even if you are the best team in the league, one of the best teams in Europe, when you're coming up against a powerhouse like Man United, who can easily turn the switch on, which is exactly what they did in the second half, they have the ability to turn the game around and embarrass you, and that's exactly what's happened. Man United fans are going to be going to sleep happy tonight, knowing that they didn't get taken advantage of today. They didn't give in. Man City did not win the Premier League against them. They know they've won the title, but it was about stopping them from doing it today. It would have been horrible. I can't imagine going to White Hart Lane or Wembley now against Spurs, them beating us to win the league title. It would be shocking. And we've done that to them at White Hart Lane. Just saying, Tottenham fans they'll be scarred from that. We went to White Hart Lane and we beat them. Well, we didn't beat them on the day, but we won the league there, which was just a special occasion. And that's exactly what Man City bottled today, which is, well, it's tough luck, isn't it? What else is there to say other than, they'll go again next weekend? There is potential that they won't win it next weekend because of the way the maths work. But the weekend after that, it's pretty certain. I think it's against Swansea, is it? I think they've got Tottenham next week, and then it might be Swansea, I think it might be, to win the league there instead. But of course, tonight they weren't going to lift the trophy regardless. They don't do that anymore, apparently. They will lift the trophy at the end of the season at their home ground in the final home game of the season, which I believe is their last game of the season, which is quite fitting. But today was all about Manchester City against Manchester United, stamping authority but failing to do so. It's a real shame. But honestly, if you're sitting there and you haven't watched the game today, even though you've watched this video and you've probably read about it, looked at the highlights, just make sure you can watch the game somehow. Maybe Match the Day tonight, YouTube highlights tomorrow with extended bits, because it was just an incredible game. You don't just want to see the goals. You want to see the passion that was on display in that second half from both players. There were fights breaking out. There was arguments. There was red card tackles that weren't given, of course. Penalties not given. It was crazy. Absolutely amazing. And thank you, Manchester, for putting on an absolute show. And it's not over yet, although technically it basically is. But anyway, tomorrow, guys, we'll be back with Operation Arsenal. We're going to Southampton. That's going to be a very good game. I'm hoping that we can beat them. They're looking very poor this season, so we should be able to do that, because Burnley won today. They're 2 points behind us. We need to keep the pressure on 5th. Yep. And who knows, maybe Chelsea will drop points and we can start catching up. Maybe just get into 5th. That would be incredible. But thank you for watching this video, guys. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you subscribe and click the bell. And I will see you next time.